We absolutely dick ride Gibson Hazard. I feel like most creatives do. If I just quickly scroll through the comments, the amount of
Oh no.
the amount of R&R alumni in these comments slash people I've reached out to come on the show is it's unbelievable, and I love it. He's really the creator's creator. And how often do you get to see the creator's creator be the center of the video world?
There we are. Bang bang.
What are we on? Ep what?
Well,
41?
yeah, this should be
Gibby?
41.
Gibby Cod?
We are the Daniel Keemstar.
You like Keemer, eh?
Drama alert. Whenever Gibson Hazard posts a video, you bet your buttons that we're going to be covering it.
Before we jump into the Gibson thing, Keemstar, dude. Do you know how this guy
What
got
about
his
him?
start on YouTube? Do you know how this guy got his start on YouTube?
I only know Keem from Drama Alert. Is that how we got to start?
DJ Keemstar was his full name. That was his gamer tag on
DJ.
Xbox, and he played Halo 3 and just did prank videos where like he would troll people online and do like just like really like mean shit to people, like calling them names and stuff, and just like trying to get a rise out of people. And you'd have rage montages on Halo 3. Like this was a gamer guy. Similar to like COD montages. Isn't that crazy?
And he's when did he start? Do you know when he started?
This was like 2010 maybe.
Right after the financial collapse. Great. Amazing that he's still doing the same thing, still getting a rise out of people in a different way. This guy's got it figured out.
Yeah, he was just a trash talker, man. I love this, and like the views are just like not like no one remembers this. It's so
No,
funny.
It's
And he had a
amazing.
crew. There was like him and a bunch of guys. They would just go around like douchebags. Dude, he has some shit where it's like you could probably get canceled for this stuff.
But nobody remembers it. It's almost as if that having new content every single day that you log on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, it's almost like it's a bad thing that people don't realize.
What is constant content? Are you
Yeah,
saying
it's almost
constant
like
content?
we're on a hamster wheel and it resets every day. Every day is a new day. There's new stuff to complain about or be amazed by or find hilarious. It's crazy. I mean,
You
Logan
know,
Paul,
yeah.
crazy. Everyone was doubting that. I remember you couldn't go, what was it, 2017, 2018? Like you couldn't go anywhere without somebody bashing this guy and throwing dirt on his name. And granted, was it probably I blanked on the word, my brain just reset. Was it justified? Yeah, I mean he did a horrible thing, but look at him now. Like 3 short years later, this guy's fighting the biggest boxer on the planet. Now, if that's not the biggest comeback I've seen for an entertainer, I mean, show me what is. That's crazy. It's craziness. Crazy times we live in. Toronto's still locked down. You still hate life.
Moving
I was
on.
talking to my mom about this the other day. Like, I really, really hope they don't come out again and say that we're opening stuff up. Like, I would be fine if they locked everything down for the next 5 months. And then when everything was good, we come back. Like, don't give us hope. Don't give me a reason to get excited. Because at this point, it's too much. It's too much. Don't let me down.
They've already done that like
I
twice.
mean, 3-4 times.
I think 6 times at this point.
This is
Let's
the
just keep it-
sickest episode of Black Mirror that we've ever been a part of.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But you know what? What are we at? Like week 3? We had like 3 more weeks in here. It's fine. Now, did I go on Instagram on this weekend and see 6ix9ine perform in front of 15,000 people, jam packed in like a venue?
Miami,
Yeah.
Vegas, where was it?
Miami.
Of course.
Sucks.
COVID doesn't exist in Miami.
COVID.
Never did.
Reality is just a suggestion in Miami when it comes to COVID. 15,000 people. It hurts. Me and my girlfriend are just always like scrolling Instagram. We have to get off because we're seeing all these people having fun as we're in this like shoebox apartment. Like fucking, what are we gonna do tonight? Drive to a restaurant where we take it out? Like, it's just terrible, brutal. But anyways, we did not come on this podcast only to talk about what's right in front of us with Keemstar and all these COVID
DJ
talks.
Daniel Keem.
That's a bad guy. I feel like I don't know if I like that guy. But imagine we did this live. Like taking Joe Rogan did his podcast live for
Yeah,
years.
with Elon Musk. He lit up a fatty
A
joint.
doob.
Or was it a blunt? I'm not sure. He might as well have been ripping a bong on set.
He lit a doob
A dude.
live.
Oh, that's not even the worst. He was doing mushrooms with Post Malone.
They didn't eat mushrooms, did they?
Oh, they did mushrooms before that. They were talking about it.
Oh yeah,
He
before. I thought
addressed it on a later podcast. He was like, "Yeah, we're doing the interview with Post, and about an hour in, started feeling a little bit funny." It's like, well, that happens when you do mushrooms. Just cranking Bud Lights with Post Malone.
So gross. How do you only drink Bud Lights like that? But
anyways,
anyways,
you have a real thing. I think everyone should know. You have a real thing against Bud Lights. Bud Light, Bud Light Lime, Bud Light Apple. You want nothing to do with it.
No, it's like I'll drink it. It's fine. But like, I can't believe it's a beer of choice. Like, is that really the go-to? Like, you can't go Heineken or Corona. If you're gonna go macro brewed, why not just go like better quality?
Laker Ice, 8%.
But anyways, we wanted to talk today, as we always do, because we like to dick ride Gibson Hazard. This guy dropped another banger video. And I feel like every video lately we've been saying it's like his best work or his best this, best that. This video, I think, did like the perfect combination of telling like a fluid story where I didn't feel like there was any gimmicks or there was like strong fundamentals mixed in with like his advanced techniques, as well as like implementing like all of the people that are relevant right now in a like North American pop culture or American pop culture.
So give him the list. Oh, okay. No, we should say this. This is so embarrassing, but I'm that guy on this podcast. So there's just everyone in the rap game that you could think of is in this video. Everyone that matters.
I mean,
and
no.
everyone that anyone that you've listened to in the last week is in this video. And
so Gunna and Young Thug.
And it's okay, great that you mentioned them. So we're watching this video. And I stop it about 5 seconds in. The first scene in this video is like, Will, is it a bad thing that I don't know who's in this helicopter? Like, we're talking A-list celebrities. I have no clue who they are.
Yeah, it's Gunna and Young Thug. And then they also have like Jack Harlow. They have like, it just seems like everyone who's relevant in the world or in like North America right now is in this vidya. One of the top comments I saw was when they give a creative an unlimited budget, it's just like explosions, famous people.
And you had a bit of a moment. I don't want to call it a wet dream. It might have been, I wasn't there, when Nadeshot comes on screen with a big old LMG.
Because I'm not used to these videos. Like, there's been tons of like these Call of Duty videos where they include like celebrities and whatnot. Not to this scale, I don't think. Like, I remember the one with
Kobe Bryant was in one for MW2. I remember that because that was the commercial that got me to buy the game. Not a big deal.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm never used to them showing like OG gamers or just gamers in their ads with Call of Duty. It seems like they always get people in the ads who are like famous for external reasons outside of video games or Call of Duty itself. But like Nadeshot is one of those guys, like this is like an OG gamer. Like this guy was going to like Call of Duty MLG tournaments when MLG was still a thing. I don't even think it's a thing anymore.
You're going to piss off a lot of gamers if it is.
I'm pretty sure.
So I just want everyone to know that Will stands by himself when he said that MLG isn't a thing. If we have MLG fans out there, just know I respect and I fuck with what you guys are doing.
Dude, now MLG, it's a freaking streaming platform or something, isn't it?
Anyways, I think you're right. I think you're spot on.
It's so cool to see this guy in it who like helped build this game from like all the way back to like from Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 1. All the way to now. This guy's been relevant the whole way through. Started his own esports org. It's backed by Scooter Braun. Like it's
Scooter Braun.
It's kind of wild.
And Drake.
Wild to see
Drizzy Drake.
Oh yeah, Drake's in it as well. I just feel good seeing like the people that I remember watching growing up in Call of Duty in like the advertisement. I wonder if that would actually help the game more if they showed more people that people look up to. Like why isn't like FaZe Merc in here or Nick Merc? Is that his name, Nick Merckx?
Yeah, it's Nick Merckx.
That guy's hilarious. And he's
so
good.
Funny.
Like, why is that guy not in this ad? But it's like, no one knows him, I guess. Like, it's not cultural.
Well, you brought up an important point when we watched it the first time together. No FaZe. FaZe is getting the ghost job on this thing.
It seems like they had Nadeshot in there because like he's like not just a gamer anymore. Like he's like a business mogul.
Yeah,
like, he has
entrepreneur.
His own org. He has like the clothing line. Like it's the full 9 yards. This is a famous guy.
I think this is the first, well, maybe not the first time, but the first time that I can remember where they're bringing, or gamers are big enough celebrities where they're being, they're on the same level as your A-list rapper or musician or actor, right?
Right. So you brought up, you saw a couple FaZe guys on IG. with the tats.
Yeah. So last week, or I guess like this weekend, I was looking through Instagram stories, and these face guys, they're dressing like rock stars now. Like they got the full arm sleeve, they got the Jake Paul knuckle tattoos, and they're dressing in streetwear. Like these guys are as much a part of the culture as any other A-list celebrity. But you said something super interesting before we started recording, and that's that like there's people that in gaming specifically, we're talking about gaming. There's people in gaming that look up to these people and they say, I play games, that person plays games. I want to be like that person. I want to be famous. I want to have clout. But
I
what
want to
you
be
brought up,
cool.
which I thought, yeah, I want to be cool, right? But what you brought up is there's also people in gaming that don't identify with that and like they don't aspire to be like that.
Like they're nerds. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. That's
That's the
great.
polite way of saying it, I guess.
That's a very blunt way of saying it. Like there's like very nerdy gamers, and then there's like gamers where it's like gaming's a part of my life. I like it a lot, but I'm not like I don't want to go out and to a dinner and get drinks and stuff. I'd rather like just like relax and like play some games, watch a movie, like be inside. Like there's two types of like introverted, extroverted gamers. And it's very crude way of saying it. But when I play games, I know some guys that I play with where I'm like, they don't look up at FaZe Clan. They probably think those are like some douchebags running around LA, chasing clout, doing the whole like, you know, rock star lifestyle, rips in these jeans,
Bottles.
Like that's not for everyone. That's like for a very specific type of person. A lot of people just like a low key life. They like being just like a nerd who like does his own thing, does their own thing, whoever they are. So,
right. And I think you need both. Like, I think you need the person that's kind of with the culture that goes out and they're like, part of the value of FaZe Clan is that they're so public facing and you just see them wherever you go. And I think they're important because you need that overlap between the average dude that kind of get like, I have so many friends like this that wouldn't, if you saw them out in public and you didn't know these people, like you wouldn't associate them with gamers, but they love to game. And then on the other side, you have people that don't identify them with FaZe at all. So you kind of need both. I mean, I think they're both
well, it used to be
productive for the
just one.
culture. Yeah, and that's a great point. It used to
just
be
nerd.
just one.
And then now it's like, oh no, you're not, like you don't have to hide being a gamer. Because a lot of FaZe guys would talk about in high school, they were like regular guys, but they like didn't tell anyone about the gaming. They didn't tell anyone about how many hours they spent trying to hit trick shots on fucking Rust or on fucking.
Because
I
people would
forget all the
think they're
names now,
insane.
High-Rise.
People would say you're crazy.
They're like, you spent $200 on an HD PVR to like record your clips, and then like you paid an editor to edit like a montage for you. Like, what the hell? You do that, dude? It got to a point where these guys in FaZe, when they're like big on Xbox, people would pay for friend requests. Like I knew a guy who paid for a friend to pay FaZe Fakey to be his friend because people can go on his friends list and see him there for like $90 for like.
And you only have.
month.
We should also mention you only have a number of spots on console.
Yeah, 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about the front facing aspect you brought up. What's very interesting about FaZe Clan, this is kind of not slightly off, it's a little off topic.
Go
but
for
we'll get
it.
back to what you're talking about. Is so back in the day in the Xbox like 360 trick shotting scene, it used to be you'd have clans with people in there. There'd be editors in that clan, there'd be graphic designers in that clan, and there'd be players in that clan. And then in the players, there's like a leader base. They usually don't play as much, and they just manage the players. So what the regular formula was is each player puts out player episodes once a month, once every 3 weeks, whatever it is. They have a schedule, and it's just called like episodes, like FaZe Temper episode 1, whatever. Then they would have team highlights where it's like every 2 weeks, everyone from the team puts in their clips to one editor on the team, and it rotates editors, and they put out like a team montage. So like that was like that was their content method. No one changed. It was just the same thing over and over again. There were like challenges, people like community challenges, shit people would do. But where FaZe changed the game and how they went from like probably like 5 out of 10 to like 9 out of 10 is they decided you're not going to be players anymore. You're going to be FaZe partners. And you're not just going to make episodes with highlight clips with no like personality to it. You're actually going to do talking like commentary while playing. So they mixed in player episodes from each player, but they also required players to show some personality, show like what the process, like bloopers, like episodes where like you're actually talking to the audience and like making jokes or setting challenges for yourself and putting that in your content outside of just trying to be the best trick shotter.
Right.
And then from there, They made the FaZe house. They did FaZe vlogging. Then they did in-person pranks. They did in-person videos reacting to old shit. They like completely went from faceless players making montages all the way up into just straight up YouTubers.
Personalities.
They put personality, what's it called? We call it athlete first content or athlete driven content. What do we call it? Athlete driven or
I've heard athlete driven, personality driven. My favorite's Naked Brands because it's like the person's in front of it instead of like what they do.
Yeah, so they went that old school sport model where it's just like you hold the crest of your team, the FaZe crest, to the FaZe crest just supports you, but you're first. And it's interesting how like you see that across all of like culture and content now. It's like Naked Brands just win. It's hard to win not being naked.
Was anyone doing the house before gaming did the house? Because now we see it all over the place. There's a hype house. There's the cloud house was the FaZe house for a while, but like I couldn't even name all the houses for influencers and TikTok people now.
I'm pretty
Was there
sure
anyone else doing houses back when? Because that would have been what, 2012, 2013?
No, the FaZe house, I think it was in New York, was 2014, I'm pretty sure.
And that was weird. I remember being in high school at the time and thinking like,
yeah, 2014. They were first.
wow, that's what they do for a like it just felt like a fraternity or a sports team. That's the only comparable that I had at the time.
Honestly, I think this house thing isn't just like, it's not like FaZe did it first or Hype House did it first. I think it's always been a thing in like esports. From what I remember, like it just makes sense if you're on a team in esports, you should be around those people.
Those are some of the best environments. Like anytime that I get to be in a house with like, I remember that in school we did a house for, you weren't there because you were wallpaper. I like to say at the time, social wallpaper. Just didn't like to talk to anyone. But I shot a doc in the States and we did a house. We did a couple houses, but just being on the road, it just reminds you of all those good experiences that I had in high school, just chilling.
And we're back. Sorry, I had to take a little bathroom break. We were talking about the FaZe house and content houses. Yep. Everyone likes to be the person who says, we were the first to do this, we were the first to do that. I swear, is anyone original? Is anyone actually first? Because FaZe house was 2014 to 2016. Team 10, everyone says, was the first content house. That was like 2017.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jake Paul loves taking credit for things he didn't do. What else is new?
I mean, that's That's like branding 101, I guess. But not branding 101, but like how to market yourself in this like weird world we live in. Which, isn't there like, there's false advertising rules, right? When you pay for advertising on traditional networks. There's no false advertising.
No, it's the Wild West. It's
on the internet.
The Wild Wild West.
It's a crazy space. And that brings me to, and I feel like we're getting off topic because I want to get back to this Gibson Hazard video, but I was watching a podcast with Michael Gruen.
Our favorite.
Was there.
Our favorite.
Michael Gruen.
Michael Gruen. Here we go.
That's a big kid.
That guy likes. Okay. He likes people ripping on him. That's my hot take for the day. He invites the drama.
I think he likes people. Are you saying like random people too, or just like the big
anyone?
People?
Dude, look at his Twitter. He responds to anything and everything. I'm gonna find a good one. Here we go. Okay. I got the tweet. I have the first fan tweet that I saw. This guy's handle is Zadikdokt. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Apologies if I did. He writes, y'all so hard on this man at Michael Gruen. He's actually so supportive. See, like here, an unseen picture of him practicing to be the ring girl for UFC 264. They photoshopped his face onto a ring girl. And Mr. Gruen says, he quote tweets it and says, see, ? My diet, it's working. Oh, no.
That's so funny. He's self-deprecating. But he was on the podcast and he was talking about marketing and what that means to like, you know, build your brand, not just as like a content creator, but also as like a business person. He referenced Elon Musk.
Right.
And he was saying that like Elon Musk's technology and his like knowledge and what he does isn't actually the best in the world when it comes to like electric cars or like the whole PayPal thing and like a lot of things he's done. But what he's, he didn't go into detail, and I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I'm just regurgitating Michael's words, is that he just brands himself better than anyone else. Just the way he talks, the way he embeds himself in culture. Like he was in Iron Man 3 as like a scientist. He goes on the Joe Rogan podcast several times. He becomes friends with Kanye. Like he's like constantly doing things that make him relevant. And the way he speaks is smart. That he isn't a genius guy, but he's not necessarily the best. The best are the guys you just don't hear about oftentimes.
Right. I pulled up this great tweet while you were saying that about Elon, because he's in a great example for what you had just said. I think you're spot on. And it said that like
I'm not spot on. Mr. Gruen.
Mr. Gruen, Michael Gruen. If you heard that, that was me dropping my phone. So give me a sec. From 2010 to 2020, where we are now, I guess we're 2021, but point still stands. Every company needed to have a media strategy or a content strategy. How are we going to reach people online? How are we going to reach people on social, right? But now companies are having a tough time recruiting talent. So they're saying, what is special about our company that's going to make them join our company and give a full effort here? So companies really have to think about how they're recruiting talent, what that pipeline looks like, and what if some talented engineer or designer wanted to join your company, like what about your company is going to bring them in? And SpaceX, Tesla, any of the companies that Elon's been a part of, there's that X factor, or it's almost like a form of social currency or clout being a part of one of these companies strictly because Elon's a part of it, which is crazy to think about, that one person could have that much influence on the hiring process or the decision to be a part of a company. But I think it's true. Like he has this clout, and it's not like YouTube,
Well, not just clout. If I
or
can just...
yeah, I wanted to clarify there. It's not just like YouTube or creator clout. It's like this aura about him. It's the way he markets himself. It's what he stands for. It's the ideas and the things that he supports. There's like this aura around him that I don't think that we've seen with anybody who, because he's not a creator, right? He's just a guy who has all these ideas and builds these companies.
But that's what a creator is.
Right. But I think I meant like creator in the sense of I do YouTube videos and the only thing that I do is content. Like he does much more than content.
Right. But he's a general creator, but he's not a content creator.
Right.
By nature. He's not like, the standard guys we know. But I think jumping on or piggybacking on what you said is there's like a clout gaining process of joining like a Tesla or whatever, the brand that he's built. But on top of that, it's like, oh, if I work with Elon Musk or if I work with Mark Zuckerberg, there's like a network that opens up for me. That's not through clout per se, but it's through like proximity.
Right.
That working for this company can lead me to other places because he knows Kanye. He knows whoever I don't know who Elon Musk knows, but he's a connected guy. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, if I can get in with him, I can get in with others.
And it's interesting. We started this conversation about gaming. I think we're starting to see the same thing with these big gaming companies. Like if you're a talented designer or videographer or whatever you do, and you have your kind of pick of the litter, like it's not that you could work wherever you want to work. You're going to work for what you're passionate about and like what has social currency in the market.
On the talent acquisition point, from my knowledge of business and whatnot and watching a friend of mine running a gaming company and also just, connect with people in my network and the small stuff I do, like talent acquisition is probably the most important part to any business you're trying to run. If you don't have good people working for you, talented, passionate, hardworking, people who devote not just like their time, but like part of their life to a degree and sacrifice a lot for your business, for your mission, that's going to help you achieve your goals. Not just getting workers. So it's not like the most important thing isn't always just like trying to make money. It's like you're actually probably better off not making money and spending that and like maybe going even or going red for a few months or years just so you can sustain having certain people who will long term put you in the green, put you in hyper success. Like it's like people make businesses work, not like the business.
Right. I totally agree.
And you have to gain those people. How do you gain those people? Well, let's look at what teams people want to join. They want to join popular teams. They want to join smart teams. I don't know what else, but I think I'm asking the right questions. Do you know? What do people, like, let's just think about this.
I mean, it's for 100 different reasons.
What draws people to other people?
Similar interests. What has social currency in the culture?
What can they learn?
Is
there information if they join this team or this business that they can get to help their lives Money.
I think more broadly, like what's the market like? Gaming's a really great market to be in right now. Live sports and entertainment, not so much right now because people can't go to those venues, but they're starting to open up. Like it's a bunch of things.
But let's get back to this video. So we absolutely dick ride Gibson Hazard. I feel like most creatives do. If I just quickly scroll through the comments, the amount of
Oh no.
the amount of RnR alumni in these comments / people I've reached out to come on the show is it's unbelievable, and I love it.
Insane.
He's really the creator's creator.
Right.
And how often do you get to see the creator's creator be the center of the video world?
And not just I'm scrolling through the comments right now, and it's not just people that have come on this podcast, although I wish it was. A week ago, we got YG. Fire emoji. Thank you very much. Right under him, Polaroid PV. I don't even know this guy. Still processing in my head what I just watched. Under that, by Foley. Wonder if there's any relation to the Foley from Spit and Chiclets. Wow, this is one of the hardest things that I've seen. So I think what interests me the most is that you have people from all different, you got the rappers, you have the creatives, and you have the average gamer person saying that this is crazy. I mean, he is a lightning rod in culture and creativity like no other person.
And then one note, like when we were talking about this pre-show, what's so interesting about Gibson Hazard's work is that it's not perfect, but that's what makes it so good. It's like
I've been thinking about this a lot. Carrie, finish what you're gonna
like,
say, but
and this is not a shot. This is an incredible video, and I love every aspect of it. Don't really hate anything, but you look at some situations, I'm like, well, that's so obviously green screen. Like you can quite obviously see it. It's very well done, but like you can still get the understanding that it's not, like you really see it's not real. Whereas in some movies, it's like undiscernible what's real and fake. But that doesn't matter with this.
Right.
Who gives a fuck? I'm just watching
Right.
something that's already surreal. Why am I nitpicking little things like, oh, the lighting looks weird there? Like clearly that's a green backdrop. But what were you gonna say?
Right. I was gonna go like in movies, it's considered a really bad thing when the viewer of the movie can see that it's very obviously green screen. It's so interesting to me that that's not the case with here, where it doesn't completely pull you out of the experience when you know that this is not a video, or that in some ways that this can look amateur. And my thought when you had first said that, you're just sparking ideas, you're buzzing today. My first thought was that like there's this idea that I've been chewing around in my mind for a little bit, that maybe it's not what looks best technically that people find most interesting. Maybe it's the people that push the line of what is acceptable, and I'm trying to word this on the fly here. How far can I push that line of it obviously being green screen, try to say that 10 times fast, before somebody's like, this completely takes me out of the experience. So it's not what looks the best. It's almost flipping that idea on its head and saying like, how much can I get away with before people are staying to say, oh, this is amateur? Because he's clearly breaking the rules, a bunch of rules in videography and editing and a bunch of things. But I don't think that there's ever a moment in this where you're like, oh, this is bad or this is cliche. Although there's a lot of things that if you were to ask somebody who does this technically, they'd be like, oh no, you should have done this more, like you should have keyed out that person in the green screen so it's not so obvious. Like it's so clear that he's breaking so many rules, but as a viewer, you're not taken out of the experience and you don't think, this kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So it's almost like I said, like inverting that idea of what is quality and what are the rules for making something look good.
But the other thing, Mose, is that I think that I notice it because like I know the difference between good and bad green screen. Not a genius, but like I know basics enough that I can see it. And I've just seen enough video that I know I can see things that maybe others can't see because they don't live in my world or live in this world. But to the average consumer, they don't fucking notice the difference. And I think what it also points to something that I think our entire audience and creators in general should realize is that I think the idea of that creative thing you want to do is more important than making it look perfect and that there's no mistakes in it. Like if your idea is to have this person, for example, in this video where I can tell there's a green screen, if your idea is that someone throws a grenade at him, he kicks it up, and then bicycle kicks it behind him over to some guys to try and kill them. The idea of like that visual of like someone kicking up a grenade like that is way more interesting to pull off without it being perfect than to not do it because it's not looking perfect in the green screen world. Like
Right.
that idea is, it's better just to put it out there with imperfections than not to, because it's such a good idea and it makes people feel like, whoa, I know that soccer player and he just did soccer stuff in a video game I also play. That's fucking
Yeah.
hype.
So there's a lot going on here, even in what you had just said. I think the first thing that I thought is there's two, if you were trying to make a really great video, there's two things that are really important. The first is like, what's the concept for the video? And that's where I think he's probably the strongest in, and that we haven't seen people play by his rules because I think he's making them up as he goes. And then the other piece is that, and we had talked about this before, I don't know if there's something more important to good videos than the sense that there's always something, and there's always something happening, and there's always a sense of momentum or pacing in this video where like I'm never wondering what's coming next. I'm always kind of there. I'm always engaged, and I'm never wondering or feel like there's a lull in the video. It just kind of seamlessly takes me along. And there's two parts to that, right? I think there's the editing after you actually get all the footage in, but the conceptual piece of it is so important because you need to brainstorm how all of these things connect. I would say, without knowing or counting how many scenes are in this video, there's probably like 50 unique scenes with actors and green screen in here. And I would guess, without being part of this production or having any clue how they edited it, like the scripting and the storyboarding and the concepting, I would imagine all of that is done before they get into the edit. It just feels like there's no other way that all of these ideas that are so separate could just blend together so easily.
Well, that leads into my next like thing I want to talk about this video is like, dude, how the fuck did he write this? Because he's the creative director around it and obviously has a team. But just taking how many twists and turns there are and how it's all like all the areas are like perfectly scripted together based on the map itself. Because taking a lot of like the green screen, a lot of the scenes are in the foreground or background are the actors, but then the rest of the scene is like almost all green screen.
In engine. Yeah,
And
it's
it's
green
in
screen
the
and then the
video game.
background's actual clips from the from Warzone.
Or it's a built scene of the Warzone map for Danks and the areas in it. Like that's
Right.
what's like, I would imagine that Gibson would has to be playing Warzone from time to time so he can know the spots to show. Which also kind of rubbed me the wrong way with this video is like, why didn't they have supermarket? Like these classic, like where like the meat, that's what kind of shows like he doesn't know the game that well. It's a minor shot. It's like, imagine if he had clips where it's
Just
like,
throwing shots at
imagine
the
if he had
guy.
a clip where like Gunna or Jack Harlow's like, we're dropping supermarket. And then he's like, no, man, we can't do that. It's like, fuck it. And he just jumps out of the helicopter and he's like diving to supermarket. Like everyone know, if you've played Warzone, you know that's like a hot zone where it's like high risk, high reward to go to supermarket. It was missing some of those elements. But outside of that, how the fuck do you write this? Like, are you at first getting, who are all the talent we can get? You secure the talent. And then based off the talent, then you start writing the scenes and you say, okay, we're going to open up with Thug running, jumping out of a building onto a helicopter, then here, then we transition. Like I would love to see Gibson Hazard do like a GQ style video or some sort of video where he like watches this and reacts and breaks it down. Because I think that would add so
Same.
much value to the creative world, and also just be like, fuck the value it necessarily adds. Like it's just entertainment to hear like a pretty much a genius talk about like his process.
It's
I think
like
there's
the
not enough of that.
videos of Magnus Carlsen, the famous chess player, breaking down scenes, and I'm gonna forget the name. I feel like an idiot. Queen's Gambit, or like what's his name? He was an ex-mob guy, and he started being like super public. I don't know the exact name, but he went on the whole media tour. He did Flad TV, the podcast. He did all the big podcasts. It's one of those things that I think are so interesting. Or professional hockey player breaks down scenes and
Well, we
Mighty
get that
Ducks.
with Chicklets, right? Like they
Yeah.
talk about the locker room, they talk about moments in the game. That's really interesting to hear. I just don't know how he wrote this thing. It's just when I think about the videos I make, and they're very simple and they're like very low level relative to this. And I think about the ones that I find succeed the most are the ones I spend the time writing out how the shots go into each other. Like, for example,
Preparation.
when I worked with Cumbraes, I did that first video with like cutting the steaks and stuff and preparing those into a box. Like, I spent a pretty good amount of time like going into the location, seeing where I'm going to shoot, and then after I got an idea of the location, I went home and like wrote a full like script and like actually thought about how am I going to go from this shot to this shot and then this, like what's an important, like I pretty much wrote down like, okay, what are the locations in the venue I'm shooting? Okay, the fridge with the meat, then the cutting board, then the grocery store grabbing the meats, then the deli. So I have those like 4 areas, and then of those 4 areas, what are the items in those areas? I wrote down the items, and then when I wrote down the items, I said, what are the actions you can do moving the items? What are those actions I can do? And I write down all the camera movements and actions with them. Then on top of that, I'm
Right.
like, how do I combine those actions with shots that transition into one another? And going through that full process of taking like an hour, 2 hours to plan all that, it made the shooting and editing so fast and so easy, and also created a video that I think a lot of people really liked and connected with. But it took all that writing, and that's on a tiny scale. I can't even fathom what the writing and planning must have looked like for this production. And I also can't believe he would do it on his own. I don't know how you do that.
No, the team's pretty big. I have to imagine the team's pretty big at this point, but I mean the point still stands. There's so much prep work that nobody sees that goes into concepting and figuring out how all the little pieces that look so seamless all fit together in the video.
So the last thing I want to bring up about this, and this is something I think really resonated with me, and I didn't really notice actually until just about like 5 minutes ago, rewatching the video as you talk. There are several scenes here where you see either famous streamers or even the rappers and actors like in front of a computer or in front of like a TV with their Xbox controller playing the game, like breaking that fourth wall and showing their reactions as they hit a crazy clip, like the Sway Lee shot where he does like a no scope across the map. Like they show that they break that fourth wall and show like this is the in-game experience, but also like the outside game experience of you getting hype and crazy
Was that meta
is
for
there
you?
too.
Were you like, oh, that takes me back to the high school days?
Honestly, no, it's not. I like that little chirp, but
I wish I could go back.
no. Why? All right, I can still play games, buddy. Come on. But it's. I really like that aspect of this video where they bring in the user experience outside of game,
Because
and
that's
that
what it's
added that
for
extra
too. We
depth.
should say that. That's what it's for. Like this game wasn't made for the people that work at Call of Duty. This isn't for people who don't play Call of Duty. Like this is specifically made for people that play the game.
And in a flashy way that the people who don't play it go, oh, like this is actually kind of cool.
I don't know who Young Thug or Gunna is, but I can see them jumping out of helicopter. I mean, that's sick. I would say this is the most like meta video that he's done. But as I was thinking about that, like he's always kind of had that aspect in his videos. Like I remember the video that he did with Billie Eilish. We could see Billie Eilish like preparing before she went out, and then you went to her performing, and then transitions and craziness. But one of the underrated things that I don't think gets mentioned because everyone focuses on the transitions and the flash and the scenes that he makes in 3D software and then brings into the video edit. What gets missed so often is that I think he's very self-referential in his videos, where you get a peek um, behind the scenes of what it's actually like to be performing. If you were Billie Eilish or if you were G-Eazy or with whoever he's collaborating with, he kind of brings us into the perspective of what it's like to perform as the artist, which is kind of a spin from I think the majority of these, and I'll speak directly to concert videos, the majority of these videos are being done from the perspective of you going to the event. So it's cool how he like flips that on its head.
What an absolute banger. I do think I wish I got to see in here. And I think the reason why they didn't do this, well, what I wish I got to see was more like prominent streamers. Like if they got like a Shroudy in there,
Tim the
Nick
Tap Man,
Merckx, Tim the
Jack
Tap
D
Man.
Courage.
Exactly. Like you get some of these like actual names that play the game and have like crazy clips and funny moments. That would have been really cool to have in the video. But I think the reason they didn't do that, one, I don't even think they know who those people are,
That's a
and
shot.
because they're not in the business world and shit. Like they have Nadeshot in there, but like, come on, he's like in the scene. But I think the other reason is like those people and those streamers are already big, and all the people who know them are already in the gaming world and like want and like are interested in this stuff. But for the people on the outside who just maybe only follow rap or they only follow like sports and they don't really follow video games really, they just know Xbox, they know Warzone, they see all these other people providing social credit and social proof that like they give a fuck about this game too. I think it brings more people to the game and more awareness than it would to have someone who already has 1 million followers on Twitch with people watching him play the game. Like having a Jack Harlow, a Sweetie, all these people that you don't expect to
Say that again.
Sweetie.
Sweetie.
Having all these people, it just adds an extra social credibility that this game is cool. You should play it too. These cool, popular people also are involved.
That's spot on. I would have loved to see Quavo repoing Sawiti's Bentley, but I think that was before this video was shot.
I mean, I am just out of the loop, buddy. I didn't know you were so TMZ'd up.
I listened to Daniel DJ Keem.
Keem's
So
guy.
listen, I'm part of the culture at this point.
Drama
Also
alert.
would have loved to see DJ Keem in the video.
I don't even think that guy does gaming stuff anymore.
No, but he's an OG, as you mentioned at the start of the podcast. This guy's
OG
an OG
Halo guy. He's not an OG COD guy.
That's okay. He's part of the gaming culture.
Well, anyways, Mose, this is a banger. Are there any other notes you want to bring on?
Yeah,
before
I
we,
wanted to
wrap?
throw people. I think we don't do a great job of recommending things that people can listen to or watch if they want to learn more about what we're talking about. We didn't do it at all with the crypto guy, Max Mayo. If you haven't
I got
listened
a
to
lot
that
of
episode,
DMs, by the way.
yeah, I
not
know
a
he
lot,
was
I got a
great.
couple.
I thought he's just such a cool guy. So shout out to Max. Love
I
that
was
guy.
blown away at like how comfortable he was right away. Like he was just like, I feel like we related and like connect. It was just
Yeah, he's a
what
great guy.
fucking good podcast.
He had the best mic that's ever been on this podcast. I'm ordering one off Amazon today. Anyways, so if people want to learn more about gaming, more specifically the business of gaming and what goes on, I want to recommend 2 episodes of Impaulsive. I thought Nadeshot's on Impaulsive was a great look into not only his career and kind of where he started with streaming, but what he's building with 100 Thieves that we mentioned earlier. This kind of lifestyle brand. He's selling like gaming merch now, which I think is really cool. I think he gets a lot of flack from it from within the community, but it was a great podcast. We'll link that in the description. And then as well, Courage went on Impaulsive as well. And we hear about his start. He's like a major super celebrity streamer now, and works with all kinds of cool people. So if you want to learn more about the business of gaming, we're going to link both of those podcasts in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So those are the great podcasts. If you're looking for more gaming stuff and you don't want to sit down for a podcast for an hour, Blake Robbins on Twitter, he worked for SpaceX with Elon. He's a fantastic follow. He's a venture capitalist. I want to say, maybe I'm getting that wrong, but he was actually the guy that put together the pitch deck and set up the interview with Dan Gilbert, which is one of 100 Thieves. I think he was first investor or second investor. And he tweets a bunch of really great stuff. He's a great follow on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter and you're interested in the business of gaming, I would definitely throw him a follow.
And then the last thing I mentioned before I want to close, I really want it. We've been trying to get my friend McCann on. He's like super knowledgeable about video games. I think it'd be a really good just like gaming episode to have. Just talk about esports and his ideas and philosophies on the issues with games and like the great things about games. We've been trying to get him on the pod since October last year. And this is me calling him out. I hope he listens. Keeps pushing me back. So I'm going to try and get him on. Hopefully he's in Toronto soon or we get him online. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be, I think, a really good episode.
Lock that guy down. Super interesting guy.
Yeah. If you're interested in games, I think that's going to be a good app. This guy's fucking Viz Master. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to follow us at RnR Podcast on all platforms, including YouTube. All right. Ciao, bello, babies. Bye-bye.